One pair of hands made the sun and the moon, every bird, every flower, every tree. One pair of hands formed the valleys, the ocean, the rivers, and the sand. Those hands are so strong, so when life goes wrong, put your faith into one pair of hands. One pair of hands heal the sick. One pair of hands raise the dead. One pair of hands calm the raging storm, and thousands of people were fed. One pair of hands said, I love you, and those hands were nailed to a tree. Those hands are so strong, so when life goes wrong, put your faith into one pair of hands. Those hands are so strong, so when life goes wrong, put your faith into one pair of hands. Put your faith into one pair of hands. One pair of hands.
The American Cancer Society is funding research.
When I see the sunrise in the morning, when I feel the wind blow across my face, when I hear the sound of children playing, I know it's all part of God's amazing grace. And I believe there's a place called heaven, and I believe in a place called Calvary. I believe in a man, his name is Jesus, and I believe that he gave his life for me. I was there the day my mama went the place called Calvary. I believe in a man whose name is Jesus, and I believe that he gave his life for me. And I believe that he gave his life for me. Thank y'all for that. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
When the day seems so long, he makes my heart strong. He's still God. He's still God. And when the night time is near, he calms all my fears. He's still God. He's still God. He's still God, and he still reigns upon his throne. He's still God, and he still cares for his own. He's still the hope for the soul. He's still in control. So be still now and know that he's still God. When I'm down and feeling sad, he makes my heart glad. He's still God. He's still God. He's still God. He's still God. In joy or in pain, in the sunshine or the rain, he's still God. He's still God. He's still God. He's still God. He's still God, and he still reigns upon his throne. He's still God, and he still cares for his own. He's still the hope for the soul. He's still in control. So be still now and know that he's still God. So be still now and know that he's still God.
No, up here, Harvey. I can see better. Do you know 3:30? You don't even know what 3:30 is. What about 329? Seems pretty easy. Which one do you know? Something about victory. We always sing that one. You know that one pretty good. Or what about the solid rock?
I don't know the solid rock.
Huh? On Christ the solid rock I stand. You know that song you sing in the car? Are we without a sinking sand?
How about 465? At Calvary. Do you know that one?
I will sing it as I read it. How's that? Let's go. I'm not like you guys. I can read the music. I can understand the
You don't need
notes.
to be broadcast notice. Ready? Years I spent in vanity and pride, caring not my Lord was crucified, knowing not it was for me he died on Calvary. Mercy there was great and grace was free, pardon there was multiplied to me. There my burdened soul found liberty at Calvary. By God's word at last my sin I learned. Then I trembled at the law I'd spurned, till my guilty soul imploring turned to Calvary. Mercy there was great and grace was free, pardon there was multiplied to me. There my burdened soul found liberty at Calvary. Now I gladly own him as my King. Now my raptured soul can only sing of Calvary. Mercy there was great and grace was free, pardon there was multiplied to me. There my burdened soul found liberty at Calvary. Oh, the love that drew salvation's plan. Oh, the grace that brought it down to man. Oh, the mighty gulf that God did span at Calvary. Mercy there was great and grace was free, pardon there was multiplied to me. There my burdened soul found liberty at Calvary.
We really should practice these, you know, you and I.
Well, I'm sort of messed up right
I got rocket pages. We've sung that one at home. I know you know that one.
No,
Yes, you have.
336.
We don't have to, though.
Well, let's look at it. 336. I know the first verse. You know it?
Let's do the first verse.
Or the first line. Rock of ages, cleft for me. Let me hide myself in thee. Let the water and the blood from thy wounded side which flowed be of sin the double cure. safe from wrath and make me pure. I can't get
Could
it.
my tears forever flow? Could my seal know? Hey, you gotta sing with me.
I can't get the words.
No language, no
I won't sing it.
language. No
Let's try
language.
another one.
No language, no.
Try one that's easy on the voice. How about 298?
298.
Leaning on the everlasting arm.
Oh, we know this one.
You ready? What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how sweet to walk in this pilgrim way, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how bright the path grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms.
What about this one? No, not that one. This one?
You want to try that one?
Yeah.
What is it?
You don't have to.
206. Amazing Grace.
$206. You gonna sing too, babe? 206.
206. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
One more, good. That's
Okay,
good.
we'll go one more.
What about there's power in the blood?
173.
What is it? 5 what?
There ain't no 500 in here.
Oh,
173.
it's 173.
Would you be free from your burden of sin? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Would you or evil a victory win? There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Would you be free from your passion and pride? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Come for a cleansing to Calvary's tide. There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb.
Would
To be whiter, much whiter than snow. There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Sin stains are lost in its life-giving flow. There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Would you do service for Jesus your King? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Would you live daily His praises to sing? There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Yeah, here. You can take this with you. It goes on the back. We're in Romans chapter 7, verse 1. Yeah, I thought I was starting Romans over. Huh? Romans chapter 7. Verse 1. It says, Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth. Law has dominion over us as long as we are living under the law. And basically that's what he's trying to get across here. And he's trying, throughout this chapter, he's going to let us realize that we're not living under the law any longer, but we are to die unto the law and to live unto Jesus Christ. So that's basically what he's going to get across. And the next one, he's going to use an analogy where he talks about a man and a woman. It says, For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband as long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loosed from the law of her husband. Verse 3 says, So then, if while her husband liveth, she is married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. So I guess it's talking about the Old Testament law, where it says that if a man or a woman gets divorced, that they're not to marry again, or it's considered adultery. In other words, the only way that they can really get away from each other is one of them's got to die. And so basically what he's trying to say that it's not going to be a divorce. You can't get a divorce from the law. You can only die to the law. So there's only one way of getting out from under the law, and that's to die to it and to live to Jesus. Verse 4 says, "Wherefore, my brethren, ye are also become dead to the law by the body of Christ, that ye should be married to another, even to him who is raised from the dead, that we should bring forth fruit unto God." So now Paul's trying to get across that we're going to have to die to the law. The law was good, and it's going to talk more about it, but the law was good. The law is the one that showed us that we were living in sin. Without the law, we wouldn't have any idea that we was living in sin. Just as we said last week, that if we didn't have rules, we wouldn't know there was any. So we wouldn't be living under the rules because they wasn't there. And I think a lot of people go that way with Monopoly. Everybody I've played Monopoly with has different rules, and I'm thinking, And you ask them where the rules to the Monopoly game is, and they say they lost them. But the thing of it is, we got to go by God's rules, and we got to follow the rule of Jesus Christ, and that's what he said, that we should bring forth fruit unto God. The only way that we can bring forth fruit to God is through Jesus Christ. It's not by keeping the law. Remember, the word says if you try to keep one part of the law, you need to keep the whole law, or it's no good. So basically, man couldn't keep the law. That's why Jesus Christ came and gave his life for us. It says, "For when we were in the flesh, the motions of sin, which were around us," in other words, the emotions, if you look in most of them, the emotions of sin, which were by the law, did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. So basically, through the law, you're going to die. And it brings forth death, is what it's trying to get across here. So when they live by the law, which nobody lives by that law anymore. Some people are still trying to do it, but no man can do it. That's why Jesus Christ came and gave his life. In verse 6 it says, "But now we are delivered from the law, that being dead wherein we were held, that we should serve the newness of the Spirit and not in the oldness of the letter." So now it says that we are dead we are to die unto the law, so that we don't live by the law anymore, but we live by the Spirit. So there's a different direction, and that's the direction that God wants us all to go in. If we would start living by the Spirit instead of trying to live by the law. A lot of people want to bring up the law whenever they're trying to get a point across. But if they ain't going to keep the whole law, they need to back off the law and realize we're living under grace now. We're living under the grace, so we need to realize and know that, you know what, because we're living under grace, we go by the New Testament, by what Jesus Christ says. The law showed us that we needed a Savior. So that's what the law did and directed us to us, but we've got to die to it. We can't serve it any longer. Verse 7, it says, "What shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law. For I had not known lust, except the law had said, Thou shalt not covet." So Paul said, I didn't know the law until I read it. I didn't realize that I had sinned till I read the law. And basically, a lot of people don't realize they're living in sin because they don't know the Word. So people are going to have to realize, and we as God's people are going to have to get God's Word out there to let people realize that they are living in sin because of what the Word says, because the Word, all of sin comes short of the glory of God. All back through the Old Testament, it put us under the law. So from the time we were born, we're under the law until we finally decide we're going to die to the law. In other words, I'm not going to go follow the law. I got to follow Jesus Christ. And there's a lot of difference. Some people are trying to do both, and it don't work. Verse 8 says, "But sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence." In other words, gave me a great desire to do every kind of wrong work. So I had wrong desires back then, is what Paul says. "For without the law, sin was dead." So when I didn't have a law, I wasn't sinning because I didn't know the law. So basically what it's trying to get across is we would not know that we needed Jesus without the Word. And all of us in here probably came to Jesus in a different way. Some of you might have been raised in church and you've been raised in it and you just heard about it all your life. Some of us didn't hear much about it until we got older. But the thing of it is, we got to understand that the thing of it is, I didn't even realize I was living in sin until I went to church. And then I found out, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not doing things right. I'm not living like I'm supposed to. I never asked Jesus into my life. So we've got to realize it's in the Word. It says, for I was alive without the law once, but when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. In other words, Paul said I was living without any thought about it because I didn't realize and didn't understand what the law was all about. Then the law came in, then sin revived. In other words, all of a sudden, I realized I'm living in sin. So then he said that I had to die unto this life of death, the life of sin, and give my life to the Lord. Verse 10 says, and the commandment which was ordained to life I found to be unto death. Verse 11 says, for sin taken occasion by the commandment deceived me, and by it slew me. So in other words, people are deceived because they don't have an understanding. They don't even realize what's going on. They need to understand what the Word is talking about. And when people want to talk about the Word, they really need to get into the Word and quit trying to pull out little bitty phrases to try to mess things up, because you can't make the Word point out how you're going to live. You need to let how you're not going to tell the Word or try to make the Word fit into the way that you live, but you need to start living the way the Word says. Some people try to manipulate the Word, if that's a good word for it. They try to take the Word and try to turn it around and make it fit their lifestyle, make it fit how they're doing, and they try to make excuses and reason, or excuses with the Word's what I call them, because they ain't reasons, because the reason is you just got to get it right with the Word, and that's just how it is. Verse 12, it says, wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just, and good. So verse 12 says, the law was holy. Remember, Moses received the law whenever he went up into the mountain, and God wrote it on the tablets, and he brought them down the first time. He got upset, threw them down, and broke them. Next time, he brought them down, and they were still around. I have no idea if they're around today or not, but I do know that they were written, and that was the law. They were holy because God's the one that presented them. God's the one that wrote them. So the law's not sinful. The law points out sin. So there's a difference there. The law is going to show you, hey, look, you're a sinner. You need to get things right. And then in the New Testament talks about as Jesus Christ came, he gave his life for us. But the Old Testament points towards Jesus. So it makes us to have an understanding of what is going on and what is happening. Verse 13, it says, was then that which is good made death unto me? God forbid. But sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good, that sin by the commandment might become exceedingly sinful. So what it's trying to get across is that the sin is the problem. It's not the law. It's not the Word. But it's to realize that, sin is going to bring forth death into our life. And the death is not the first death, but the second death. So that's the death that none of us want to face. It's the death that we realize we're going to spend eternity in hell. So we understand that sin is that way. In verse 14, it says, for we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. So it says the law is spiritual. It was from God. It came from God. But Paul says, he's carnal, and he was sold under sin. So we gave in, and we didn't even realize we were sinning until we got into the Word, or until someone told us, or our eyes were open, and we began to realize, I'm doing wrong. Our kids, when they're born and we start raising them, they don't know right from wrong. They just do things. They try to test you. Some of them know, they just keep on doing them anyway. But as your kid starts growing, you got to start teaching them what's right and what's wrong. So they don't just automatically figure it out. So we've got to teach them. We've got to train them. Just as the Word teaches and trains us and tells us the thing we can do or we cannot do. So we've got to be in the Word and understand that it comes from that and from God. For that which I do allow not, for what I would, that do I not, but what I hate, that do I. Sounds like a circle there, doesn't it? In other words, Paul says, I don't always do what I really want to do. And the reason that I do the things that I do, I don't always act according to my will. It's because what he's trying to say is I've tried to work out my salvation on my own. I didn't allow Jesus Christ to. I tried it. I tried to get better. I tried to make myself better. I tried to work it out. I tried to do it. The thing is, a lot of people try, but nobody can make themselves righteous in God's eyesight. Jesus Christ paid the price, and there's only one way. That's through salvation. So he says whatever he tries to do, and just because he wants to do it doesn't mean he's going to do it. He still keeps messing up. It's because he's trying on his own. What we need to do is to try in Jesus Christ and try to get those things done according not to our will, but according to God's will. It says, if then I do that which I would not, I can sin unto the law that it is good. So, he said if I do what I would not, in other words, I do things I really don't want to do, I look at the law and realize, you know what, I'm messed up. So we've got to understand that we're not going to work out our own salvation. It's not going to happen. We're going to have to turn it over to the Lord. Verse 17, it says, now then, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. Now Paul says because of the sin that's within him is the reason that he lives and he acts the way that he acts. And the only way you're going to get out of that, we can always say we can try to do better. I've invited people to church before and they said they can't come to church because they got to get their act together first. I says, well, the way you get your act together, you give your life to Jesus Christ, he'll clean up your act. You ain't going to work it out. You ain't going to make yourself better, and you can't do that. But some people have this attitude that you got to be good to go to church. We want all the bad people to come to church. Then they become good, not because of the church, but because of Jesus Christ. So we need to invite people to come in and to teach them and that they would give their life and their heart to Jesus Christ. It says, verse 18 says, for I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not. In other words, he says, you know what, I don't have the strength or the willpower or anything else to accomplish that which is good. Man can't do it on their own. I mean, they might have a life and live a life that is good, but it ain't righteous, and the only way to get into heaven is to live a righteous life. So people can try all they want to. It just ain't going to happen. For the good that I would, I do not. But the evil which I would not, that I do. Basically, it's repeating what it said a while ago. In other words, he says, you know, the things that I really